The question is as on the order paper, and we have shy of 30 members hoping to contribute, so we will have a hard speaking limit of 4 minutes to begin with, and I come to Esther McVey.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I want to thank the member for Blyth and Ashington for his persistency, for securing this debate today, and for the work he has done and is doing to get those banks back on the high street. Now, perhaps we here today should be grateful to the bankers, because by their actions they are the only group of people less popular than politicians. Unfortunately, in their endeavour to become the most unpopular people in the country, they are doing huge damage to our local communities. To put this in context, since 2010, more than 10,000 banks have closed across the country, and now there are only 3,000 bank branches left open in this country. In fact, you have more chance of finding a Labour voter on a farm than you have of seeing a bank in a rural community. The member for Blyth and Ashington rightly pointed out this loss of banking facility has left vulnerable groups like the elderly, the disabled, particularly affected and financially excluded. So too are residents in rural areas where internet access is poor and unreliable, and so people struggle to get on the internet to do transactions or for any customer assistance. And yet these banks continue to withdraw physical services from their customers. Walk down most high streets now and banks have become cafe bars and pubs. Today I'm going to focus my attention on Tatton and my local high street, because the scale of the closures there is stark. In Knutsford we've lost Santander, Barclays, NatWest, Lloyds and HSBC since 2018. Only Nationwide Building Society remains. And Knutsford is a prosperous town with over 1,000 businesses operating locally. There is high demand for banking services, and yet they have closed their doors. In Wilmslow, RBS, TSB have closed, with only Halifax and NatWest, and they are going to close, meaning only Santander and Nationwide will remain. And Alderley Edge and Handforth, there are no branches at all, forcing residents to travel long distances. I will indeed.
I'm very grateful to my right honourable friend for giving way, and like members across the House, Epping Forest has seen a series of bank closures over the years. Tragically, Lloyds Bank have said that latest this year they're going to be closing the branch in Debden in my constituency, a branch that, as my right honourable friend is saying, is a lifeline, as it is, banks in her community as well. Many of people rely on this for face-to-face banking and will struggle to get to other branches. Does my right honourable friend agree with me that banks like Lloyds need to rethink, stop these closures, and actually the government and Link need to step in and support high street banking?
I agree with my honourable friend, because this lack of banks is a disgrace. And where do people go for their banking needs? And the reality is, when these banks close for these businesses, they've entered into an agreement with these businesses and these individuals. When they opened their bank account, they opened it with them on the high street. The business was there because they expected a certain amount of customer service. That's why they went there in the first place. Face-to-face banking offers confidence, security, efficiency, especially for businesses handling cash and making significant financial decisions. Without these services, it is just not going to work. In 2022, the Federation of Small Businesses found that 4 in 10 small businesses still relied on cash as a primary payment, and 6 in 10 needed to make regular cash deposits. I regularly hear from businesses in Tatton that they simply cannot deposit cash or access basic services needed. Well, yes, because 64% of bank branches have closed in the last decade, and 65% of cash points have gone as well. That means that reducing their ability to deposit cash in the local area. And this shift online also poses risks, from technical failures to cyber attacks. And we've heard as well, there is, through this monopoly, through this lack of access, a squeeze, and commission is being charged for these businesses' transactions. So our high streets are at the heart of our communities, but without access to banking services, our high streets already under pressure, have become even harder places to trade, grow and thrive. If we are serious about supporting small businesses and seeing investment on our local high streets and in our town centres, we must stop this decline in banking infrastructure. Madam Deputy Speaker, some may argue closures would be reasonable if banks were losing money and they needed to do cost-cutting measures. But this is simply not the case. Banks are not struggling institutions. Last year, HSBC reported nearly $25 billion in post-tax profits. Barclays made $6.4 billion, Lloyds $4.5 billion, NatWest $4.8 billion, all eye-watering profits.
Order. Richard, quickly.
That is why they must remain open.
Order. Richard, quickly.